And we roll on with our great experts at the Application Architecture Summit. Welcome, everyone, to the breakout session for Appian. And let me welcome back Malcolm Ross, Vice President, Product Strategy. Malcolm, glad to have you.
Thanks, Vance. Always a pleasure to be part of your presentations.
And we love having Malcolm with us, too. He drives Appian strategy for low-code architecture and features. He has more than 20 years of enterprise app architecture and software delivery experience with a particular expertise in low-code process automation and, of late, AI, which we're going to hear a lot more about this morning. In fact, today's session, Malcolm is going to tackle several hot sectors that are happening in our application architecture realm in his session entitled Hyperautomation at Hyperspeed. Malcolm's going to review how the Appian platform is taking low-code paradigms and bringing them into a more intelligent automation platform. We're also going to see how Appian is speeding up delivery of new apps, RPA, and even helping update legacy apps thanks to AI, machine learning, and a nice dose of analytics to know what's all going on underneath. And we're going to see this in action. So thanks to a cool demo, Malcolm's going to let us know what this is like in real life. So just a quick reminder before I hand it to Malcolm, under the U screen, you can see you can get a copy of Malcolm's slides. That big red button will get them right to you. We also have some great links to some other terrific takeaway assets, all available without any registration. You did that to join us this morning. And we love to have you connect with our experts. So to connect with Malcolm, just type in the submit a question box. So with all that, Malcolm, let me turn to you and tell us about hyperautomation at hyperspeed.
Yeah, thanks, Vance. You know, it really was trying to think of how do I capture the right title to represent the two hottest enterprise adoption patterns in the market today. It's low-code development and process automation. And of course, I had to find two words that have the word hype in it twice to properly represent what's going on in the marketplace. But I always like to look at these kind of market trends and try to demystify them, removing the hype a little bit and talking about how these are actually practically implementable in solutions. How do we drive automation across an organization while using low-code techniques to make this simple and approachable for not just developers, but also any business user inside your organization as well? And of course, an enterprise software presentation would not be complete without first mentioning the word artificial intelligence. But this is probably the crux of when he talks about hyperautomation, of really demystifying artificial intelligence, understanding what exactly this is, and how we can effectively apply this inside your organization. There's a lot of confusion out there of exactly what artificial intelligence can be or how it can be applied to your environment. So let's start with an example. And of course, that example is something maybe we all use. Maybe it's Google Assistant, Hey Siri, Alexa, one of these environments. You see right away, I say, Hey Siri, and automatically it's listening for my voice. So let's do that really quickly. Hey Siri, how are you doing today?
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, you can see the artificial intelligence isn't always working correctly, but we can always get an understanding of the impression that this seems like artificial intelligence. It seems like it's understanding what I say, it's responding to me in an intelligent way, and it is, in a way, using artificial intelligence. But we need to look at this type of interaction and see, well, how can I apply this to all my different other interactions I have in my enterprise? How do I inject artificial intelligence inside my environment? So first, let's break this down and look at what's exactly happening in the Hey Siri interaction. So when I say those keywords, I'm not going to say it again to prevent the Siri from kicking off again, but it's obviously continuously listening for my call. So there's an input here. That's the audio input on my device. It's constantly listening for me to mention those keywords. And as it mentions those keywords, it's capturing that voice information and digitizing it into a digital stream. That's basically an input. It's an input from my keyboard. Literally, I have the Hey Siri button right there on my keyboard, and sending that digital input to a backend service, that language processing service. Now here you see some aspects of artificial intelligence, such as AI algorithms to capture intent and actions, and also speech to text, and finally text to speech to respond back to me. But that is also integrated into just core prescriptive services, such as looking up information, Internet of Things. I need to find out the status of my front door. Is it locked or unlocked? I need to find out the latest score of my favorite sports team. I need to find directions to a specific location in my mapping software. These are backed in through integrating all these APIs. So artificial intelligence itself is not really a specific thing. It's a pattern. It's a pattern of how I combine these intelligence services with maybe prescriptive APIs, integrations with inputs and outputs which humans can interact with. To break this down a little bit more, what exactly then is the artificial intelligence part of this entire stream? Well, artificial intelligence, the crux of it is based on data, large data sets. In the case of that Siri interaction, the large data set is the millions and millions of different communications other people are having going into a training service to understand what people are saying. So that data stream is core to any artificial intelligence. You could say data is the lifeblood of AI. It brings AI to life by doing mass data analysis and then making predictions from that. I then can start to label things to start to define intent. I can use things like machine learning and neural networks to start to learn the patterns, and then I can make predictions of what the person, in this case, is potentially saying. So it's translating my voice speech to an actual text stream that's readable by a computer. That's a prediction saying, I think the person said this. I think they're trying to say this. Now, this pattern could be applied to any number of other things, not just speech to text. It could be applied to predicting stock prices on the stock market, predicting the weather, for example, predicting maybe the price of gasoline as fluctuations occur, predicting things like when employees are going to become dissatisfied or satisfied with their job. Looking at patterns can be applied to anything, but at the core of it, you need to have that data. But even then, this is the real crux of artificial intelligence. This by itself doesn't really provide a solution. Going back to this, of course, the solution in this case is not just the AI part, which is really that middle part. It's how all these things are connected together, how I create the human interaction to the AI, to the backend data services, and then also the response back to get that information back. So that's the first thing to understand. If you're trying to go on a journey of artificial intelligence and hyperautomation, you often want to think about these acronyms backwards. You want to flip AI to IA. And what I mean by this is artificial intelligence, again, is a piece of the overall stream here. IA is actually another acronym, which stands for intelligent automation. Intelligent automation is really the right way to think about how I'm going to build an intelligent solution for a customer experience. It's about thinking about not just the individual data and artificial intelligence and predictions, but how am I going to interact with that? How am I going to expose that to an end user? How am I going to supplant that AI service with backend data services and make it more intelligent by connecting to things like mapping software, weather software, accounts, things like this? When we define intelligent automation, we kind of focus on four main topics or four main technologies, really. First is business process management. It's the idea of building process orchestrations, connecting and gluing these things together. Under the realm of business process management, it's not just, of course, process orchestration, but it's also about how I'm going to define the steps of things that occur, as well as the inputs and outputs of those processes, as well as the business rules and logic, both artificially intelligent predictive business rules, as well as prescriptive business rules. And any solution is typically a combination of both prescriptive and predictive. So for example, if I ask for the latest sports score of my favorite team, there then is a prescriptive part of that to say, go look up this sports score of this team. Another key technology in the context of intelligent automation is also robotic process automation. How can I overcome kind of common digital interactions required on a desktop computer? Maybe I don't have robust integration services to these backend systems. I can then emulate a human on a desktop environment and actually script those in desktop scripts. Another aspect of this is integration itself, a strong service-oriented architecture. If you build an AI service that's disconnected from the other data of your enterprise, you're ultimately going to build a pretty useless AI service because it needs to basically fetch information, it needs to know the context of what's desired, and then be able to do that action for people, either through a robotic process automation or direct integration. And of course, that key realm is how do I inject artificial intelligence inside of this stream? So I'm going to walk through here is some practical examples to measure your own progression at AI levels, as well as how we can solve these challenges in the Appian platform. So I would say a level 0 of artificial intelligence or intelligent automation is really about adopting first BPM and RPA orchestrations. These typically are highly prescriptive based. They're going to be defined by business rules. They're going to route information appropriately and create intelligent interactions, but in a more, as I said, prescriptive manner, not predictive manner. If I want to jump to that level 1 pre-trained cognitive services adoption, this is where I start to inject predictive artificial intelligence inside of a process automation. And this is where I'd encourage most people to explore. I find probably the vast majority of enterprises have adopted BPM and RPA process automation platforms in some manner, but have yet to really take advantage of predictive services or know how to effectively apply them. So this is where I encourage you to jump. Don't try to jump to the level 3 autonomous process automation automatically. We don't want to try to solve the challenges of completely humanoid robot at the start. I want to start to inject predictions inside the environment early. As I start to consume pre-trained cognitive services, as these are the easiest to consume, I want to then look at intelligent process improvement. How can I start to train the data based on my own unique interactions? One example of this might be like language understanding and intent services. Language understanding is one pre-trained cognitive service where I'm going to understand what people say, but intent means that I'm going to apply intent in the context of my specific business. I'm going to understand maybe if I say I want to open a new account, that could mean something entirely different for a bank versus a retail store. So I'm going to understand the intent and route it appropriately. And then autonomous process automation is where basically the process is going to self-improve. It's going to identify inefficiencies and actually learn by itself and adjust its own interaction patterns. So let's talk about the Appian platform a bit more and how we can apply intelligent automation using a low-code principle. Appian's mantra is automate more, code less. We want to achieve low-code adoption of development. We want to expand the number of people able to participate in the definition of logic and business processes inside your organization, all for the goal for increasing process automation across your entire enterprise. With that, Appian is a platform for digital transformation. We're going to allow you to work faster, be more agile, and be more innovative, again, by adopting low-code design methodologies to build enterprise-grade software applications. The core components of the Appian platform are a tightly integrated suite of solutions. This includes process orchestration, content management, data management, business rules, analytics, reporting, collaboration, mobile capability, security, integration, and interfaces capabilities as well. Now, going on though, Appian accelerates digital transformation for a number of areas, such as delivering more effective customer journeys, business operations to drive operational efficiency and maximize employee productivity to optimize business decisions, and a compliance with governance, risk, and compliance solutions, mastering complex compliance requirements and managing global risk. With that, Appian is actually a unique vendor that we are the only vendor rated as a leader in both enterprise low-code application platforms as well as process automation platforms. Covered by Gartner in the Magic Quadrant for Enterprise Low Code in 2019, a leader by Forrester in 2019 in deep digital process automation, and also a leader by Gartner in intelligent business process management suites. Let's take a look at a practical example though, a prescriptive process laid out inside of an Appian process model. And let's understand how it can start to apply artificial intelligence to start to overcome this challenge more effectively with an intelligent automation routine. So here again, we have a very prescriptive process. I'm going to receive inbound emails. From those inbound emails, I'm going to detect if those emails have an attachment or not. This is for the support of maybe an email triage, a support desk. I need to receive inbound customer communications. I want to then route them appropriately to the proper support engineers. To understand the attachments, I need to transcribe those attachments, understand what they are, and classify them. Is this a billing record? Is this a proof of identity? Is this some other document that needs to be routed appropriately? Also, I have agents that speak multiple languages, such as Spanish, English, French, but not all my agents are multilingual. So I need to route those appropriately, identify what the language is, and route it appropriately to be translated. I also need to classify the email. I need to understand, was this for a new account onboarding, servicing my account, maybe a product return, a new product purchase? What was the intent of that communication? Then I need to route it appropriately to the handle support. So let's start to inject some artificial intelligence here. Now for this case, I'm going to use the Appian AI product initiative. Appian AI is native cognitive services powered by Google. They're going to automatically add artificial intelligence inside of this process flow. So in this first step, I'm going to look at that transcribe attachment. I'm going to apply two areas here, Google Vision and Google Drive. I'm going to upload that document to my Google Drive environment, and then I'm also going to perform document OCR. Document OCR via Google Vision will automatically translate all the text from that environment from a document to a text environment, which a computer can understand, as well as start to classify that to understand what exactly is this document. Is it a purchase order? Is it a invoice? Is it a billing record? And I can start to understand exactly what that is without having any human involvement. Second, Google Translate is also a powerful service which has matured much over the past several years. Appian AI includes Google Translate as part of the Appian platform, allows it to automatically translate email communications and customer communications to over 100 different languages. And of course, I can now use my English-speaking agents to address any type of communication inbound into the organization through automatic translation of that email. In addition, I am also going to provide natural language processing. Again, a Google natural language processing service embedded inside Appian as Appian AI. This allows me to do entity object analysis of the communication to classify this. Was this about new account onboarding, loan servicing, new purchase order? And of course, identify the sentiment. Was this a very angry customer or happy customer? As I define these now, you can see that I can almost eliminate all that level 1 triage of my inbound tickets to pure AI services. This is a great stepping stone into the first applications of artificial intelligence in your organization to start to apply these initial routing and triage services to understand the intent of communications and route that appropriately. You see, this is very similar to that Hey Siri experience I talked about before, that as I receive an inbound communication, such as that voice message request, it's then going to use AI services to understand what exactly was the context of that service and begin to route it appropriately. So let's take a look at a demo environment here that all of you can actually access. So if you go to Appian.com, you can sign up for an Appian free trial. The Appian free trial experience, we've really taken great lengths to include tutorials to help all of our customers and prospects understand how they can start building intelligent process automations inside the environment. This is a hands-on experience. It's video-based and self-guided. Of course, open to any customer with an enterprise account or email account. So if I go into, say, my Learn AI, I want to learn more about my AI service. I can say, just want to learn more about artificial intelligence. I want to try the software solution itself, or I want to actually use this and get step-by-step guides, say an intro course of exactly how I'm going to apply artificial intelligence inside a specific routine defined inside this Value Customers Request Management solution. So let's take a look at this solution right here. This is a sample application built on the Appian platform. It's going to allow me to receive inbound email communications. To simulate those, I can go ahead and say, receive new email, action's been completed. It's going to create a new instance for me of an inbound email communication to track inside my environment. If I go ahead and refresh the screen, I should be able to see those communications come in. So here I can see a new one come in, and I can also see my manager dashboard tracking exactly what's going on across my customer service agents, also showing the overall sentiment score. But more importantly, this is about a design experience. How can I build this myself? So if I go into the application designer of Appian, you can see a variety of applications preloaded inside the free trial experience. If I go to this email triage environment, this shows you this exact design of that application that you can start to explore and play with yourself, such as this intelligent email triage. Let's take a look at how I'm injecting these artificial intelligence services. So I can see these inbound steps are going to apply sentiment analysis and case type prediction. If I go down to my monitoring, I can actually see the flow also. As a leading AI platform, intelligent automation platform, I can see the entire trace flow of how this occurred. Receive email, create request. I can see that email I just created inside the environment. I can see the communication that was actually captured from that inbound email, just like this. And then it's routing to sub-processes to maybe parse information from that specific email as it goes through. Create a request ticket inside the Appian system, so to automatically provide intelligent triage. If I go ahead and open this, I can also say automatically open up these where I injected those AI services to automatically provide sentiment analysis and case type prediction of entity object analysis of what that might be, and then route that appropriately and also integrate backend services. So if I want to design something fresh from the start, it's a matter of simply dragging and dropping services. So again, that low-code experience makes it very easy to define these automated process routines that combine both human actions as well as integrations and AI services all in one process flow. So you can almost define any interaction pattern you like to automate routines inside the enterprise. Now, take this a step further. As I mentioned, a key part of intelligent automation is also integration. So if I want to create an integration to things like Salesforce.com, here I have a connection to a Salesforce.com environment. I can go ahead and say test this connection. Now Appian is registered and connected to my Salesforce environment. I can say use a new integration. And maybe on this, I want to automatically create a specific object, such as I receive an inbound communication. I want to create opportunity. It's like this. I'll go ahead and save this into a specific folder. And from this integration, I now have a Salesforce integration set up. I can create an object. I can choose which object type I want to build. So I want to build a new opportunity inside the environment. There it is. I can define then the attributes of this opportunity. It's automatically going to discover all the key attributes of those for me and show them right there on the left-hand side. As I go ahead and say test this request, I can then create that opportunity just like this. As I hit save, I have that create opportunity. And now after that email triage process, I want to say, after I create this request, I want to inject maybe a process step to automatically create that opportunity. So I'll go ahead and say call integration just like this. And that call integration, I'll go ahead and say is going to be that create opportunity just like this. And now I have Salesforce integrated into that process flow, and I just define just like this, exactly the step and order for which I want to define. So again, very simple to go ahead and modify applications to create those intelligent process automations that are going to drive greater efficiency. And as you run all these inside the environment, Appian captures detailed process analytics. So we're going to automatically record process detail information, exactly what happened inside the process history, saying exactly who changed what, how long things took. So you can also identify the efficiency of these processes as you inject artificial intelligence and automatic routing inside the system. So with that, I'm going to swipe back over. Encourage you, if you'd like to check out that demo, you can see those in Appian.com. But as well, if you'd like to take a look at your readiness for intelligent automation, we encourage you to go to this Appian.com/IA readiness website. Here you'll have a simple survey that can actually measure your specific posture for intelligent automation. How mature are you on robotic process automation, business process management, integration services, artificial intelligence, to get a measure of what to expect when planning your own intelligent automation enterprise plans. And of course, again, get your free trial at Appian.com. If you like what you saw, of course, that entire trial environment has access to all these stories and case studies I talked about before, as far as that Vallow Park email triage environment, as well as many more examples of how you can apply intelligent automation inside your enterprise operations. And feel free to contact me if you have more questions at ross@appian.com. Thank you very much, and back to you, Vance.
Malcolm, great conversation and great demo. It really put together some of the traditional low-code capabilities that I think the industry has become familiar with some very, very powerful extensions, notably in the AI space. Really great session.
Thanks, Vance. Always a pleasure.
You know, Malcolm, so much to cover. Let's kind of start at the top level, just to kind of percolate a little bit the design thinking that's going on there at Appian. In the context of the application architecture role that folks have, you know, setting a core platform from which the developer and the IT ops people and even the business folks can all have a conversation about what an app looks like. Where does the AI that Appian envisions sit? Is it purely just a service that the developer kind of calls, or is there a broader conversation that goes on?
Yeah, typically AI services are, again, the equivalent of discrete rules, but rather being prescriptive, they're predictive. So they're going to base their results on a trained data set. So like any stateless rule, you typically want to expose those as individual microservices. These microservices You can either buy off the shelf as pre-trained cognitive services. As I mentioned before, Appian includes the Appian AI initiative, which is actually powered by Google, provides a number of Google's AI services as part of the Appian AI platform. But as well, of course, there's AI services across AWS, Azure, larger exclusive AI companies. But most importantly, it's easiest to adopt, again, these pre-built cognitive services. When looking at adopting AI, don't try to go invent your own AI algorithms yourself at first. The most important thing they can do initially is start to make sure you're collecting data, because data, as I said before, is the lifeblood of AI. And if you're going to do any custom AI in the future, you're going to want to have that large data set in your back pocket. But to start apply AI, go check out natural language processing, sentiment analysis, translation, things like this. They can provide great value in a lot of customer interactions, employee interaction experiences right now.
Oh, fantastic. So if I understand what you said, Malcolm, basically with Appian, I get pre-built models or algorithms that I don't have to worry about. So I don't need a data scientist per se to get started, but I do need to maybe make sure that my ongoing data could be available for machine learning.
Correct. As you mature your AI practice, you're going to want to tap into that data. So as you feel comfortable with understanding how to effectively apply predictive and not prescriptive business rules inside of your process flows and your intelligent automations, you'll then mature to the point where you want to say, hey, I'd like to inject some of my own custom logic that's unique to my business, also based on predictive logic. So that's where you need to start to expand your AI skill sets. And if you remember that maturity curve, move down to the level 2, level 3 level, where you're actually training a machine learning service yourself based on your own proprietary data. So again, you want to start looking at the adoption of AI. So don't look at AI as discrete individual things. Look at it through the customer journey, through the employee journey, through the operations journey. Customer journey is certainly one of the main areas of investment Appian's been applied, but the main goal, of course, is to speed that journey, to look at the touch points a customer has. So as you do a customer journey map, understand all the touch points, and then look where there's efficiency opportunities to make that a more fluid experience, to allow maybe the customer to do more self-service, to understand the customer interactions better and route them more appropriately. You don't necessarily need to have an agent touching every single customer interaction. I could drive these through chatbots, through intelligent forms and interactions, even through voice command systems to interact with your organization, driven by AI to automatically self-service that customer in a process automation.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Pivoting to another use case, Malcolm, you mentioned RPA in one of your grid slides. We have a question here. What does Appian see as the latest trends for RPA? We're finding that simply automating green screen may not be giving us the best ROI.
Yeah, I mean, RPA is part of a larger automation initiative that many enterprises are exploring, I would say. So the trend in robotic process automation is driven by the overall interest from enterprises to apply more process efficiency. RPA itself is very well suited for specific types of tasks where I have humans doing highly repetitive interactions, or I want to accomplish integrations that are not possible through traditional service-oriented architecture or direct API integration. So that's where the value of RPA is. And the value of RPA, though, is even greatly enhanced when we look at the holistic process journey. How do I combine RPA with BPM tools to look at the overall process and also augment those individual steps or business logic rules with artificial intelligence as well? And that's what we get back to as far as the definition of intelligent automation.
Absolutely, absolutely great. We talked a lot about the design element, and certainly there are a lot of compelling ones here, including in the integration realm as much as low code. We've got a question here that kind of goes to the whole life cycle. It simply says, Malcolm, what visibility or management do I get once I launch an Appian application?
Yeah, good question. Appian is, as I mentioned before, a leader in business process management software. And part of that leadership is based on our ability to not just design processes and execute them, but also manage and optimize them over time. So there's a great degree of visibility as processes run. I can look at the individual steps. We saw an example of that in the demonstration where I went into a live process, saw the steps that were completed, saw the transaction history, but more importantly, we aggregate all this information into a real-time analytics repository. So I can basically do real-time analysis of my process efficiency, see how I'm improving processes over time, and where maybe bottlenecks are occurring to automatically and continuously improve those processes.
We were pretty limited on time, Malcolm, so you didn't give us a chance to demo all the other capabilities Appian, but one comes in and it talks about the idea of the omni-channel support. A lot of folks, when they build an application, they've got all sorts of UI, UXs to worry about, not just for humans, but even for IoT or for devices. Talk a little bit about how much automation you're bringing to omni-channel.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the crux of my initial demonstration showing the voice interaction via the Siri functionality, is that the communication, the inputs that you receive from humans are really much more non-traditional, we'll say. They're not typical web or mobile devices anymore. So of course, you saw Appian provides a comprehensive web environment that's also available as a native mobile application. Any app you build runs on iOS and Android as well. But more importantly, we also have a custom web API designer. Web APIs into your custom applications is the key to expanding to omnichannel. So if I want to have an Alexa, if I want to have a Hey Siri, if I want to have an IoT integration, you need to make sure that I have an effective integration point that other applications can call those automations, use that service you build inside the Appian platform, and get the result back effectively in any type of interaction pattern.
Fantastic, fantastic. Malcolm, I see time is just about up, but before you go, another big issue that is on the minds of a lot of app architects these days is this whole idea about policy compliance, security, GRC. You mentioned it a little bit in passing in your slides, but maybe drill down a bit for the CISOs and the architects that worry about that end-to-end security. What Appian does for that aspect?
Yeah, Appian is primarily delivered as a cloud platform, but we have some of the highest level security certifications in the industry. This includes for our federal customers, FedRAMP 2, PCI, ISO 27001, HITRUST for healthcare, a variety of pre-trained or pre-certified security certifications on the platform to give you that confidence that's effectively managed. In addition, we also offer a high availability offering, which gives you a 1-minute RPO. That means the system will be triple replicated, hot replicated, that if there's any failure across an entire data center, will automatically fail over to another data center, giving you no more than a 1-minute recovery point objective. So this is really designed for enterprise class applications. Our typical customers are Global 2000s using us for really important core operations of their business.
So the takeaway I got from that, and I'm sure our security attendees probably picked up on a lot more, is that not only do I get security and GRC at runtime, but I have also got a way to ensure that that is active all the way through.
Exactly. It's those ILDs, right? Security, reliability, scalability should be baked into the platform.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Malcolm, this has been a fantastic session. We love the questions. We love the demo. Just one last word before we close this morning. We took a great interest in your demo, and you mentioned it was cloud offering. Give us a sense of how people can go forward, either through a free trial or maybe a sandbox environment. What could be the next step?
One of the great ways to check it out is, of course, our free trial environment right there, appian.com. When you go to that link, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner a link to register for your free trial. Each of our free trials is free, of course, and gives you a dedicated development environment for the next 2 weeks with a lot of pre-trained routines and training material to get you onboarded and understanding how to actually build these applications in an Appian environment. And of course, if you'd like to just take a look at your posture for intelligent automation, as I mentioned before, Appian has this appian.com IA readiness survey. It's a free survey. You can go through the whole survey anonymously. If you just want to download the results, there's a registration form. But it gives you some questions to think about when thinking about, do I have the right pieces in place to start an intelligent automation journey? Do I have the right technology, organization structure to start really driving process efficiency through AI?
Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Malcolm Ross, Vice President of Product Strategy at Appian. Thanks again for a great session, and especially for the demo and the really wide-ranging Q&A. Appreciate all your time and input on that. And I think a lot of our app architecture folks have really learned a lot about the new generation of low-code here as we go into 2020. Thanks again.
Thanks, Vance.
And as we love to do here at the Application Architecture Summit, just a quick reminder, you can download a copy of Malcolm's slides. I think now you can see they're very much worth hitting that big red button, along with some of the other assets that Malcolm and his team have provided to us. They're available to you without registration. You did that to join us this morning. And lots going on at Appian. We didn't have room for everything. So here's a slide that'll take you directly to Appian's website for many of those resources, including some of the trial and AI survey activity that Malcolm talked about. Just simply download Malcolm's slides as a PDF, and these links will be live. Thanks again, everyone.